Lefty podcast. Onora Boys in the building. Brought to you by Onora Whiskey. OnoraWhiskey.com. It is that premium American whiskey. OnoraWhiskey.com. And if you choose to drink, ladies and gents, make sure you do it
responsibly.
Let's get it, Left. Lucky Lefty Podcast. I am SB2 Mike Sean Davis, that dude, the original Lucky Lefty himself, MALIK ZAIRE, brought to you by Onora Whiskey and courtesy of Believe Network. Believe sports, believe in Notre Dame, believe in Lucky Lefty, believe in yourself. Subscribe on our YouTube. Make sure you go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Helps with the views. Leave your comments, questions. We respond to all. And then you cannot forget patreon.com/Lucky Lefty Network. And then for all the great news, material, stories, merch, LuckyLeftyPod.com. And then tap in with us. Audio edibles each and every day, courtesy of Believe Network, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Man, you know how we do it. We're the home of the misguided passion. And we're forever and will forever be committed to making sure that we spin it different. What's up? Play-in night. See, hey man, because you know I'm a John Morant fan. Boy, Steph and the crew better be nervous.
Yeah,
they better. John Morant is Mr. Play-in.
He is.
Him and Trae Young, Mr. Play-in. I don't know what Atlanta's doing with Orlando right now. I haven't checked the score, but if they let Trae Young get in the playoffs again, Trae Young gets to the playoffs with the worst rosters ever, bro. If you ever put him, why don't you go ahead and put Trae? Well, they thought Trae Young might end up out there in LA at first.
No, we got Luka. We're good.
Send him to Chicago. We'll take him. Come on.
Why would he go to a lower market?
Come on. What type of low? Wait. Chicago's a bigger market than Atlanta. What you talking about?
I'm saying
in every way.
A lower value team. Atlanta's way better than Chicago.
As far as team value, Left, you're really proving that you don't know much about the NBA.
No, not team value. I'm saying team-wise, team to team.
You talking about roster value?
Atlanta's a better organization right now. They're headed in a bright future, a good direction. What is Chicago doing?
Well, Chicago got that albatross off to Sacramento, so they're good now. That's good. Now, Lucky Lefty Podcast. Of course, we know you've been waiting. So I've had an opportunity to kind of state my case about what I saw on Saturday concerning the quarterbacks. So I'm going to let Left is going to get a chance to rock out for like the first 15 to 20 minutes. And if you have a GTB question or you have a super chat, send them in right now because I'm going to let Left answer all of them, right? The transportal mania is starting off. Jaden Ott, running back. Cal lost their top 4 running backs to the portal, bro. I've never seen anything like that. Never seen anything like it. Yeah. Jaden Ott, top running back, committed to Oklahoma today. And I suspect, ladies and gentlemen, that one or two players from the Notre Dame roster might jump in the portal. I suspect that.
They might have to.
I suspect that. So we'll keep our ears to the ground over the next 24 to 48 hours. And of course, we'll talk about it with you guys as soon as it happens. Then we'll hear from Marcus Freeman. Interesting comments about the quarterback competition where I told Left to calm down. If you were here with us last week, he was talking Marcus Freeman. I said Marcus Freeman knows exactly what he's been looking at. He knows exactly what he's been looking at. He's just telling people this to throw them off the trail, keep them off the scent. Marcus Freeman knows exactly what he's been seeing in practice. And he said that in the post game, and he told you he's only going into fall a certain way at quarterback. That's what he said. So calm down. Left, calm down. I told you, Marcus Freeman. You said it, Left. You said this dude knows everything that's going on. How in the world does he not know? And I told you, he knows. He knows. He has his finger on every part of this program. He has the pulse of everything in this program. He knows. We'll talk about that. And then Marcus Freeman was also on 3 with JD Piquel talking about a few things. So we're going to show a couple of clips. Not that we'll play the audio, a couple of pieces of audio from that as well. So and then we'll talk about the offense, the defense, who stood out, and all that other good stuff. But how was your day? The kiddos treated you good today?
Yeah, second grade was good, man. They started wild, and then they get sleepy because they're babies. So
yeah, after recess, they start to wind down. Yeah, that energy is a little tight.
But they're good. They're good. I love it.
Was it that? Do you have to call like attendance? Because that's always tough for youngsters in the morning, dude. Just get them to quiet down and like, yo,
buzzing around, and they want to tattletale and
tell you about last night, what they saw,
what happened, and they all some reporters. Yeah, they're all reporters. They want to report everything that happens in the classroom. Yeah, that's right. That's right. You don't have to worry about nothing. I'll be trying to be like, all right, did he do it? Did he do it? I'll be getting my informants quick.
You got snitches up in this? Yeah. You got snitches left?
I'll be like, that's okay. I get my informant over here to help me out. Yep, he did it, and they look like that, and they said this, and you gotta play judge all day.
Helping that snitching, huh?
Gotta make them kiss and make up. All right, I gotta shake hands. You gotta say sorry. I'm not like the other teachers. I don't send people to ISD and send to the principal office. I'll be like, okay, we're gonna.
Oh, you let them get away with everything.
We're gonna hash it out here.
Squash it.
You're gonna squash it.
You know what I mean? You got the boxing gloves in the corner.
Bunch of negotiating and complaining. But you gotta have fun with it, so it's a good time.
Lucky Lefty podcast. All right, Left, let's get to it. We know the people have been waiting 3 days for us to really come on here, chop it up, especially you. First of all, your overall thoughts of what you saw from Notre Dame as a team. Did you see enough to make you feel like, okay, this was not a one-off. This is a team that's going to continue to be a top contender in college football?
Yeah, I felt it was a good showing. I thought there was some bright spots, kind of just some of the going through the motions out there a little bit, but it was just good to get your eyes on the team, get a quick review of what it could look like and some players, and just a general good sense. I mean, when you go against yourself, it's all good. So I do like the idea possibly how they was talking about doing some joint spring games. I think there's something to it. I think just to give a taste to the season, especially because you go spring game and you go off for about a month. So I think that'll be cool, but it's a lot that can happen, but something to think about. Overall, the quarterbacks, we kind of talked about it, and it kind of played out how we talked about. I mean, it was a good day. Overall, I think it was good to see us push the ball down the field and have some attempts and try to balance out run pass, but it was just refreshing to see the ball fly down the field a little bit and some completions. There was some completions out there, and I think that this is a healthier quarterback unit, which is good. It got better from last year. I think guys are coming to their own and probably are just thirsting for a couple more opportunities. You know what I'm saying? Just a couple more chances just to get out there and show what they can do. Because when you think about it, when you get to the fall, it's getting a little bit more serious. So I do think that for overall, it was a good showing. It was better than last year. I think guys were playing more nervous last year, and you saw a little competition from the quarterbacks and trying to separate themselves and making some plays, and some guys played safe. But I think overall, uh, Marcus Freeman does have some guys he can win with, like they've talked about. And I do think there's a difference. I'm not going to say how the receivers try to tell you they don't know who back there because the ball just coming. I wouldn't say all that, but I do think there's some good and bad to what we saw.
All right. So where do you want to start, Left? We can go seniority on down. We can start with the youngsters. I mean, first of all, let's just go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off. Okay? Let's rip the Band-Aid off. Okay? Left. Go ahead. Who had the best day? What did you see overall before we get into the individuals?
Overall best, I mean, I think CJ has some most memorable plays. I think they gave him a couple more opportunities to kind of get some throws in there. But I do think Kenny showed a little bit what we talked about. There can be some really good, and there's going to be some things he takes chances with and some mistakes here and there. But I think Steve just did exactly what we knew he could do, just be solid. And I think that we're at a stage where we got some guys that are just a little bit more hungry, taking a hold of the opportunity. Doing your job is great, but this year you just got to do a little bit more. You got to do something more memorable in the position. And I think we got guys that can step in and really grow in it. I didn't see necessarily like the knockout superstar where I'm like, oh man, that's clear runaway. I think you get a kind of a hodgepodge until, like I said, the coaching staff decides who they run with. I think that will be the forming that would take place because when you kind of treating everybody the utilitarian way and doing it fair. I mean, you get some bright spots, but nothing consistent like you really want. And then when you have the confidence of saying this our starter, this our backup, this our, so hopefully in the fall we get him. Obviously, Marcus Freeman, you can kind of tell he got a direction he wants to head. So overall, I thought the guys gave their best resume in a small sample size. They gave their best resume. So I think it's what we obviously talked about and prepping before the game of what to expect. But overall, it was a healthy day. More throws than we've probably taken in the last couple spring games. Just on just getting a rhythm and actually having some thought behind it. And guys was like, hey, I'm going to put on a little show. I think there's an entertainment side that you got to add because you want to be memorable in these next couple years for Marcus Freeman because these are his golden years. This is his first peak year. I think coaches go through peaks and valleys. This is a peak time for Marcus Freeman. So he's got to pick this decision carefully, knowing that it's going to be what it is this year and it's going to be better the year after. So he's looking to cash in on a guy that can really just take hold of the spot. I think a guy that can take off in the position of Notre Dame quarterback is the best job in America. The best job. I was giving the comparison to shout out to Jaden Wade at IMG quarterback. The truth, future number one pick. I hope we get him. Best thing smoking. We got to get him. But I was telling this guy, I was like, the difference is like, okay, you got the Big Ten Media Day. All the Big Ten schools go to Chicago. What do? We go straight to ESPN one-on-one solo interview here on the stage. We going to the Wall Street. We doing it big. Just us. We take over ESPN. Y'all taking over a subscription paid channel. So I think that just shows just the difference of what the weight of what a guy could be like. I thought Bryce Underwood was getting some love. No. Notre Dame quarterback of Bryce Underwood talent that's a knockout for sure. If Arch Manning, let's just say hypothetically, was at Notre Dame, you think CJ's hype would be big. It's big at Texas, but at Notre Dame, it would just be chef's kiss. So I think these are the years Marcus Freeman. Then you pair that with a Marcus Freeman. That's like a bourbon and a good cigar. That's like apple pie and a scoop of that French vanilla ice cream. Or you say French vanilla. It's vanilla. So that's the combo we're looking for, that macaroni and yams. Marcus Freeman's looking for the yams. That's the combo. And on top of that, guess what? We got Denbrock in the cut. Just had Jaden Daniels, 2 first-round receivers. Who's better to take a guy to the next stratosphere in terms of college football fandom? Just no better position of where the quarterback position is right now for a guy to step in and just Michael Jordan his way through college football. Seriously. You would be the face of college football instantly if you were just a guy, a dude. You think Marcus Freeman's big doing all these renditions of classic movies? It would be you. That's way bigger than some commercial. Because, we put our thing on the during some big event. How we just do it big, man. So I do believe that getting back to the quarterbacks, it's important Marcus Freeman makes a careful decision. Because whoever he chooses, I think, has to be a 2-year ride, 3-year ride out. Because he needs to attach his name like macaroni to yams. He needs that combo. Right now, he's been thugging out his macaroni. And, macaroni, it can fit all occasions, all ages, all stages. But when you hit it with the yams, it turns into a whole different identity. It becomes a cultural favorite. They make soundboards to when it touches memes about it. There's a paradigm shift when you bring the yams in. It brings families together. It's usually the first 2 dishes gone. When you got just the macaroni, it's like, okay, that's the dish I got to go to. The yams is the combo that knocks it out. It's the dessert before the dessert. Everything in one. That's what Marcus Freeman's looking for. So he had the macaroni. It was great. But this year, that piece, them yams at that quarterback position can take us to the next level, can make the plate full. We went to the Thanksgiving at the college football national championship with a skimpy plate. We didn't even throw the devil eggs on it. We just didn't have a full plate. We had some good parts. You got some good parts of the plate where you like, oh, I just got the turkey, stuffing, that combo. Then you travel over to your macaroni. We didn't have the stuffing. We just had some good turkey, some fried turkey, a little bit of the mac that your mom made. So that's gonna take you far into the night. It just gets you rolling. And then you got your greens. Get the job done to get the starch with the, the starch with the vegetable. Because you can't double starch, you can't double starch.
In our community, we love the double starch stuff. We double starch it up, boy. Are you kidding me, bro?
You see, we didn't dress it up just right. We went in there with just the fried turkey and the mac, a little bit of peas and carrots, just to say we balanced out. Got a good piece of cornbread, not even the edge or nothing. We didn't get the edge. We didn't get the second batch that comes up. You know, the first batch everybody picking off of before we get to the plates, before we get to the prayer. They picking off of the, you know what I'm saying? They got to remake a fresh batch right when the plates are being served that comes through. He ain't even get that piece. But you know, other teams they filling their plate up. Because then the secret is when you get that pot roast. See? Get that slow cooked pot roast. And then you bring the mac in. Because you know, pot roast come with the carrots and the potatoes. And then you get your other dish, your fried turkey. You might get a little greens. Got them yams. Top it off with some deviled eggs. That's a full plate. We dealing with a full plate at Notre Dame right now. That's what I saw. I saw something that can satisfy everybody. Did we have a main dish? We know we got a main dish. We know we got a recipe that we can whip out that can just take over the whole plate. But we need that combo. See what I'm saying? We was winning with desserts and appetizers. And second plates. Because when you got the first plate and it's good, but then you get that second plate, that's the one you take home. That's the one you be nibbling off of because you don't want to, you know what I'm saying? I need to get a little bit more. Because we was winning with 2 plates. But it's time to get that knockout itis plate this year. Georgia had it. Put you out. You know, we ate our plate, want to go to the movies. They want to go hang out at the pool bar after. No. When you get that Georgia plate, you go home. All right, I gotta go home. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and take this nap. You know, I'm gonna take this nap. We want to go out and do other activities, but now we're about to build that itis plate. Hear what I'm saying now? The itis plate. The mac, the yams, and the pot roast combo. I'm telling you, the fried turkey is coming in handy. That's that D-line. That's why we said we need to bulk up. Because you can't do the store-bought turkey. Can't do it. You got to have that specialist in the family that know how to deep fry the turkey. Because everybody like the traditional turkey that come out the oven, but you got to get the guy to come in with the deep fry, because that's the one that get ate up. And that's what our D-line got to do. They got to eat up. That's the fried turkey on the plate. It was real skimpy. We didn't add the gravy to it. You know what I'm saying? It was just turkey. Now we done dressed it up, got beefed up, did it right. You know, you inject it with marinade. You done injected it and let it sit in there for a little bit. We done beefed up our D-line. Now the plate getting more heavy. You know what I'm saying? The plate looked full, but it wasn't heavy. Now it's getting more heavy. And that's what I saw, just a full plate. And the pieces that were better, I saw the potential. I saw the receivers be a little bit more active, more energetic to be out there. You know, our receivers used to do the 10 and dive. Get the 10 and don't even look back. Get the 10 and look to block. Now we got receivers coming out of routes, running to the football on a scramble, getting, you know, so we saw a variety of different things that our receivers are capable of, which only hints to when we get a guy that's just a trigger man, now it's going to flourish, because now we can start saying, oh, this is his guy. This is who he likes here. This is what we can work with. That's why the decision is so important, because you got to start that now. You're going against teams that got a year on you. There's quarterback receiver connections that got a year on you. Florida, Texas A&M, they got a year on you. So that's why we got to be able to come in there and have some continuity. We talked about that last year. Denbrock and Gino talked about continuity. That's that flow, that current. You're in a position to be able to know your guy. The carousel can only work for so long. And we saw that last year. Even at his greatest peak, we've exhausted the do it without a dude at quarterback method for long enough. This was the best year we've ever done it. And it still was 11 points away from getting it done. That's just the facts. And that's with everything you can ask surrounding it. Because it all came into play. When we needed a 100-yard receiver in the playoffs, we got it right on time.
This might sound disrespectful, Left, but you just said something. You know who Riley Leonard is? He is Notre Dame's version of Harrison Barnes.
That's
See, when Bron came back to beat the Warriors, and forget the fact that Steph had a terrible fourth quarter, forget all the other stuff, forget Draymond putting up darn near 30 in the first half and pretty much non-existent in the second half. All everybody could think about was the open shots that Harrison Barnes missed. That's all they could think about.
all you can think about.
Right? So what did they do? What did Golden State do? Hey, Harrison, we're about to go get this dude named KD. You know, you might have heard of him. Best small forward in the league, in the game behind Bron at that time. Best small forward in the game. Yeah, I think we're gonna go and get him. So we're
gonna have to make this move.
Yeah, you go ahead to Sacramento. Go ahead. That's where players go to die anyway. Go ahead. Right? And see, Riley Riley Leonard, man, we appreciate you. You were just enough to get us there. Just enough to put us on the precipice of having an opportunity to tie the game up at the end. All of that. But it's time for Notre Dame to go get his KD.
Yeah, that's it.
It's time for one of these quarterbacks. It's time for one of these young quarterbacks to become our KD.
That's it.
To become that final piece to make us unbeatable.
Unbeatable.
Yes. Let's go get 2 or 3 championships. Let's go. Let's go get it, Left. But go ahead, continue. I just wanted to add that because you started talking about, final pieces and everything.
And that's right. That's exactly what we're missing. We missed it last year. And obviously this team is different than last year's team. There'll be some other things that maybe last year that we probably didn't take advantage of or noticed that we won't have this year. It's a natural thing. And we'll be better in some areas. But the quarterback position specifically has to be 2 times greater. And we have the opportunity for it because we have the coaching for it. We got Denbrock. That's underrated. That's underrated. And he's been there before. He left, proved himself, came back like, I'm ready. Now we got to get a quarterback that's ready. And having that smash piece, I think, opens up where I do think the defense didn't play lights out like they did last year. But that's what we talked about. They got to go through some stuff that's unforeseen. They don't know what they don't know yet because the leadership's different. Bits and pieces are the same, but just that you losing out Golden, it's like, all right, this is just different. So in that meantime of developing and going through that new journey, offense has been on the journey, been on the path. So you start to see, okay, this is where they take over the helm, get in the driver's seat, and you start to see Denbrock be more comfortable with some of these calls, being like, all right, we're going to let it rip because we might have to. Defense might give up more than 17, and that's in college football, that's an average day. It's a regular day. For us, it might be a little shocking. But that's just because we had that good a defense last year. Like, come on. So there might be some games where we get in the shootouts this year. That's just, in my opinion, what's on the horizon. We're going to get in shootouts this year. And it's not the defensive fault necessarily. They're just like, hey, offense, we done carried this for 3-4 years now. We're going to be there, but y'all going to have to make us go. And that's exactly why I'm glad we got Denbrock there. Marcus Freeman still rocking. He's in his peak era right now. And we just need that piece to activate because we got the program building thing going. And it's good to see, the attempts. I look at the attempts because it shows the thought process. CJ had 19? Kenny had second most at like 13, 14 maybe. Steve had 11. So you just see right there, okay, that's better than last year. Denver looking at, like he said when he came in, run to be efficient, throw to open up the run. Let the run plays be explosive, but let it be as a fallout of us throwing the football. And we saw guys spread the ball out a little bit. I saw some throws outside the hashes. What do you know? The field looks so much bigger on offense this year. I'm like, man, we got some space. We got some matchups. I can see what we thinking. We're not overthinking. We're not making the plays too hard. It's just kind of, okay, we just operating. So that's a good sign. And now it's just a matter of who's going to be the standout. Because everybody's just playing good. It's just like, obviously we're going against ourselves, but who's going to be that dude like Jeremiah Love and stuff?
The crazy thing is that was no quarterback that played bad.
No, he played bad.
You can't look at that practice and say, man, this guy was awful. No.
There's guys that play a little bit better.
Man, look, I've been trying to say, and I'm telling you it's having an impact on recruiting. I'm telling you that because the quarterback play is so much better in practices, when these wide receivers come to watch the offense, it's a totally different perception. Now it's a totally different perception for them. We'll talk about Bubba Frazier and play his film a little bit later. The things that he said, he was able to see himself in the offense. Yeah, because, when you're looking at Drew Pine and Tyler Buckner throw it in practice,
they don't have a presence of we got a dude back there.
Nah. Even when Sam Hartman was there, nah. And even when Riley was there for the most part, especially early in the spring, he wasn't even there. It was all Steve and the two youngsters.
Right, who is this guy?
Nah. So you're starting to see all things work together, Left. The winning from last year, the promise of this year, and the roster talent continuing to elevate, the practices being more competitive and being more impressive to recruits when they watch it. The vast majority of recruits always mentioned that I've talked to, regardless they're offensive or defensive recruits, they all mention one thing. Man, they play fast. Everybody. At 99.9% of the recruits. How's the practice? What did you think about practice? Man, they play really fast.
And it's more urgent. They got urgency.
More belief, bro. More belief.
Yeah.
More belief. The youngsters are 2 years into the system defensively, right? They kept the same system. Drake Bowen was like, yo, Chris Ash didn't change anything. Even though we did see some odd fronts. We saw Notre Dame in some odd fronts with the linebackers coming off the edge. That's something different. We saw that multiple times in multiple series. I'm very interested in that. Armel Mookum, by the way, you're looking good coming off of that end as a big end.
Yeah.
I like that. 88. I like that. Jason Onye. I like what I saw.
Yeah.
I like what I saw. Sean Civiliano. I like what I saw. We'll get to the defense. But I'm just telling you, Left. Chris Ash, He's tweaking a little bit.
Yeah, he's getting his stuff in now.
He's getting his stuff. He's getting his stuff installed. Keeping the same system, same terminology, but just a little tweak here and there. And he might be unlocking some things. He might be unlocking. Because if you have that many, Devin Houston moved to the inside, to the offensive side of the ball. Why? Because of depth on the interior. Well, what's the best way to use that depth in rotation? Go to some odd man fronts.
Change your front, yeah.
Change your front. You might be able to get 300-pounders across with 2 linebackers in certain looks.
And then you got 2 speed off the edge.
Absolutely. Especially early. If you don't expect Boubacar Traore to be back early, along with Jordan Patello, then you can use that early in the season. And when they come back.
With a Jalen Sneed and.
Yeah, that's how Prince Preston Zinter got that sack on 4th and 6 in the red zone on Kenny Minchie coming off the edge.
It was still
it was a blown assignment. It was a blown assignment, but it
still being big inside.
Yeah,
having that 300 pound.
Yeah. Those are just some of the small things that I saw from Chris Ash's defense where I said, okay, I see what you're doing. Let's get to the super chats, Left. Gabe Goliath, thank you for the super chat. Mac and Yams and Honora. No doubt. Little peekaboo, if you will. Little peek. I like my back touching yams. Yeah. Little peekaboo. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. Patriot Drew. I got Patriot Drew. Thank you once again for tapping in. Sean Dallup, Freeman on Pollock. I'll get to that tomorrow. I have it already in the holster. You know what I'm saying? We want to pace ourselves throughout the week, give ourselves some things to talk about. I want to be able to talk about Gregory Patrick, his dad snapping on E.J. Holland, checking him on X, which was wild. Said it with his chest. Salute to you, Papa Patrick. And Gregory Patrick committing on Sunday. Bubba Frazier committing this weekend as well. Absolutely fantastic news. We'll get to it. Probably tomorrow, Patriot. We'll probably tap into that tomorrow. GTB question. Jay Grizz. Any chance Coach Denbrock channels his inner Steve Spurrier and goes with a quarterback rotation for game 1 between Carr and Minchie?
I hope not. I just don't feel like there's a rush to play CJ Carr.
If he's the best quarterback playing, bro, I don't care. Yeah, I don't. Dude, we got 2 studs. I think we got 2 studs. I think the 2 youngsters are studs. I'm just being honest with you. At this point, man, let them cats go at it in the fall. Go ahead. You know what I'm saying? Throw them in the back. You know how you used to put your 2 dogs in the backyard, let them run around and play fight?
Yeah.
That's the fall camp for Notre Dame at the quarterback position.
And that's exciting, yeah.
Let them play fight. And at the end of the day, it's all love. Y'all come back in the house. Come on back in the house.
Yeah. That's what has to happen.
Go ahead.
I think that's what has to happen because at the end of the day, you need that young passion, that young fire at that quarterback position to kind of get that team going as well.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody respects Steve and they know what they're getting. But at the same time, you need to know some of that unknown as well. You need these guys to kind of just come into their own selves as the team is feeding the fire and playing well around them. And you feel a little bit better having the youth grow into the spot rather than us just seeing the old man jump into the position the last 3. Not saying Steve's old, but he's seasoned. You gonna throw the leftover chicken, or you gonna make the nice fillet straight from the butcher, or you gonna throw in the leftover chicken because it's easy? It was good, but it's the leftover chicken. Or am I gonna make this steak I just got down the street at the meat market fresh? They're both good with rice. But the leftover chicken is the leftover chicken. It was good last night. It was fresh. But leftover chicken, if I was hungry, if I was lazy, I just wanted to watch TV, I didn't want to really put the garlic butter and the seasoning and all that on the steak. I didn't have the patience for it. Yeah, I can run with the chicken from last night because it was good. It was good. It'll get you through the night. Or I'm gonna put that effort behind that steak while I'm prepping it, cutting up the garlic, the parsley, getting the pan preheated, and that butter on the, you don't want to put the steak on there cold now. Then you get the, get all the fresh sounds and all the vegetable. Then you start coming up with ideas. Then you start pouring that ONORA up. And now you in the groove and throw some of that 90s on. Now you got a dinner going. Now you might throw some asparagus on there just because of that, get some of that flavor up off the cast iron. I ain't gonna waste the flavor right now. I'm gonna get some Hawaiian rolls. You really dress it up. Dress it up. But that's the feeling you get when you get that fresh steak going. When you do the leftover chicken, you might pop it in the microwave. Open a can of vegetables. It get done. Satisfy you. Get you through the night. You might have to get a snack at the end, though. Have to get you something sweet. You know what I'm saying? But I had to get something additional at the end of the night because it's just the microwave chicken from last night. But when you get that steak, I just picked it up, fresh, straight off the butcher. I took it home and I didn't even have to defrost it or nothing. Because when you don't have to defrost, you just, let me go ahead and get to it. It's ready. They're ready. But Wendy say fresh never frozen. Fresh never frozen. These dudes is ready to play. The leftover chicken just might have to save it for lunch. You know what I'm saying? But it's dinner time now. It's dinner time. I got my little favorite TV show, The Voice, coming on. I'm trying to, when I sit down, I'm satisfied. I done got everything I needed. I done put the work in behind the steak and it made all the other, because you can have some leftover potatoes, some leftover rice. I like them scallop potatoes with, the little cheddar scallop potato, because that's good. That can be leftover. Get a little salad out the fridge. That just compliment, but it's good though. When you get that steak, it just changes the meal. Leftover chicken, you might not bring the salad out because you're like, man, I got these canned vegetables, man. Be good. I might grab that little potato salad I done picked up. Never know if I want to double starch it out. You know what I mean? But when you cooking that steak, you might pour up a little wine, make a little Kool-Aid. You know what I'm saying? You're going all out. And it's just the way you dress it up. That's why I think the fresh meat is better to play. It's better to roll with. Looks better. Give it a little bit more pop to your night. Do you want the leftover chicken? It's good because you made it. It went through the process. It was fresh for the moment. That thing hit the back of the refrigerator. You're like, damn, I forgot. Let me go ahead and, because you put it in tinfoil. So, you got all type of stuff in the refrigerator. You think the tinfoil got all, I forgot that chicken in the back. Oh, let me heat it up real quick. It's a different process because you know what you're getting. I done had this chicken before. Everybody eat it. But that steak is what they're going to choose first just because it's fresher. It's the way to go. You get more out of it. Get a couple more smiles, a couple happier stomachs. Shoot, you might even impress your girl a little bit. Girl, I'll cook this steak for you. Think about that. What's better? You done cook the steak for her, or you done throw the leftover chicken on the right? See? Because guess what? The leftover chicken is making the paper plate. You ain't putting that thing on no plate because you don't want to wash no dishes. It's an avalanche effect. The mind is different. You ain't getting no happy time after it all said. You done put the leftover chicken on the paper plate.
Boy, you went deep in the bag for this one tonight, boy. You went deep in the bag. Now we talking presentation, paper plates,
because it all goes together. I'm just saying,
happy time. You bringing everything in perspective.
But you see how the fork in the road happens. It's just an avalanche effect. So now you don't want to do no dishes. Now you don't want to wash the plate. You're just gonna leave the good silverware in the cupboard because you warmed up the chicken instead of just cooking.
The fact that you just said cupboard. That's something you heard from your grandmama growing up. Lucky Lefty podcast. D-Monk, Mr. Food Lover, GTB. What's your take on Kenny's celebration? Did you do the backflip at 8 before left? Did Kenny steal that from you?
Okay. I ain't doing that.
I mean, my fault, dude. I thought you were athletic enough to do it. My bad.
See.
Go ahead, because you're about to say something slick. I know you had a.
I leave that to the receivers and stuff.
Kenny was just showing that he had a little. Kenny was really trying to show that he was that dude. And from the naked eye, I probably would take Kenny in a foot race against Riley Leonard. So when he says he's faster than Riley Leonard, I probably would take Kenny.
He wasn't lying though. He really,
in a foot race. I probably would, left. I keep it a buck. Lucky Lefty podcast, GTB questions, super chats, get them in. Yeah, I think left. We could go ahead and agree that the top two are the top two in the quarterback race. No, it's no need to. We don't have to prolong that. It is what it is. I told fans, I'll say this, like I said it in previous shows. It's one practice. One practice does not give the full picture of what has been happening the entire spring. But I do think it is a peek into what has been happening the entire spring. So I was very adamant last week in saying that what has been told to you, that all three are equal to this point, don't believe that. No. That's not the case. The intrigue, keeping everybody invested, making everybody in that race feel like they had a good shot. Notre Dame did an incredible job of creating the right atmosphere. As I said before, I saw both sides of the limited access to the quarterback competition to limit the narratives. I supported it from Notre Dame's side, and I lamented it from the fan side and from the media side because it kind of sucked. But it truly gave a competitive atmosphere and a fair atmosphere to all three quarterbacks. And now, the results are the results. They have a few more practices, but I don't think what we saw Saturday is too far off from what has been taking place the majority of the spring. I don't think it's too far off, right?
Football's gonna show you who's really out.
Yeah, if an apple falls from a tree, it's not gonna hit the ground too far away from the tree. Now, depending upon if it's on a hill, it might roll down the hill, but where it hit the ground, it's gonna be pretty close to the tree. And I think, I think everybody knows now. That's why I said I'm ready to hear from the fans. Like, let us know. What did you think about the quarterbacks on Saturday. I'll get your comments up on the screen because I'm interested in your thoughts on the quarterback situation. Lucky Lefty Podcast. Left, we come back. Let's talk about Marcus Freeman and hear from Marcus Freeman his thoughts on the spring, the practices left, what he's looking for, transfer portal, and some other things. We'll talk about Bubba Frazier. We'll talk about Gregory Patrick, their commitments, and we'll get you guys out of here because we got a full week of conversation, and we're going to be bringing on some former players that were actually in attendance during the rest of the week and get their thoughts on everything surrounding the culture, the program, the conversations with former players, and also Coach Freeman. Lucky Lefty Podcast. You already know we spin it different.
What's up, family? The merch shop is finally here. Lucky Lefty Network merch shop. We got it all. From the shirts to the hoodies to the hats to the nitty gritties. Come here right now. Shop with us. Come get the swag because you know, if anything else, we spin it different. You see the gritty. You see how we get down. It's elite.
You wrap me up in the color of love. There must have been an angel by my side.
Lucky Lefty Podcast. Sean Davis, SD2 Mics, the original Lucky Lefty himself, MALIK ZAIRE. Go ahead, subscribe to our YouTube, Lucky Lefty Podcast. Hit the thumbs up. Helps with the views. Leave your comments, questions. We respond to all. Courtesy of Believe Network. Believe in Notre Dame. Believe in Lucky Lefty. Believe in yourself. Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Go tap in with us on a daily basis. Set yourself up for the automatic download. And just go ahead and follow us, man. Great content. LuckyLeftyPod.com for more great news, content, free message board, merch, and recruiting all over at LuckyLeftyPod.com. Patreon.com/Lucky Lefty Network as well. Players only podcast. We're the home of the misguided passion and forever committed to making sure that we spin it
different.
All right, Left. Marcus Freeman, as always, you know, he's very shrewd when it comes to the media. Very shrewd when it comes to the media. And he was happy with what he saw. But it's pretty fair to say he was happy with the offensive performance. He also was joking that they had to come up with it. Now they got an offense left. So now they have to change the scoring system. See, the scoring system he set up was like prior to him having quarterbacks in the offense. Now he's like, man, I got to change the scoring system because my offense is blowing my defense out. Can't have that. It's going to make my defense look like they can't get the job done. I thought that was pretty funny. But he started off talking about being happy about having his offensive lineman back because you remember the story of the scrimmage the week before was the duress that the quarterbacks were under. And it was hard for them to perform because there was only one starter on that first unit playing, and that was Charles Jagasaw. Well, you had Anthony Knapp back. You had Emil Wagner back. You had Billy Schrauth back. And, oh, was it a difference when it came to pass protection? Marcus Freeman talked about that.
Yeah, it was a progression. Those two guys both were postseason or at the end of the season surgical guys that it was a progression for them to get back. We knew that at some point in the spring we were going to get them out there and get some work in. They played a lot of plays this season, you know, and it was important to us get the physical strength conditioning aspect of the development for those guys. Before it was more important to do that than it was to just get them back in practice. So they got out there this week and competed and did some really good things. We limited their number just because it's early for them in spring, but it's good to see those guys out there, right? And we got a lot of good work for the young guys that have been practicing most of the spring, but it's a little bit different when you have Emil and Billy and Knapp and some of those guys in there with the ones. It's different for our offense.
Yeah. Got them big hogs in there. Yeah.
And see, it just makes the defense a little bit stiffer in the middle, and that's what you want, man. It's just a good overall appearance. It's a sight for wonderful eyes, and it's just great to know that that interior is getting buffed up. Teams got to run to the outside, and that's where our speed has got better. In the nickel position, the safety position, our linebackers, the side to sideline speed has gotten a lot better, and that's more beneficial than what we at some points during the season had trouble with, and that's people running up the middle. So I do think that this just adds an edge to a defense that was good that we didn't have necessarily because we had a good defense, but the edge wasn't as intimidating as I think it can be this year with guys getting back that are healthy, a deeper rotation in the interior, but also guys that are forcing the ball outside. Now we got guys that can get there outside. KVA, Drake Bowen, Jaden Osbury, Sneed. We got guys that can go sideline to sideline, not to mention our safeties with a Don coming downhill. Tyler, Strolling. So I'm glad that the defense didn't change much because it is a benefit to if it's not broke, don't fix it, so to speak. We're just going to adapt, evolve, tweak, add on, take away, make better. So I think that process takes some time. But like you said, because the offense is dynamic, because now we added something that was kind of kept under wraps last year by our own doing, by the way. It wasn't like they was taking it away. We just, man, we used to hate that other vision that they gave us on the TV copy. They flipped the camera and you just see nothing but people wide open. It just made it look bad. Now I think we take advantage of that. You know, we put the ball in some good spots defense couldn't get to, you know, with some good coverage. And I think you add that with just what we already had. You throw a Jeremiah Love in there, Jadarian, Jabron, Rasheed Jordan, all spots. I just think it's a good day.
I agree with that, Left. I think overall, you have those different weapons, skill positions. It can get spoiled and wasted when that offensive line is not intact. That's so. And for all, none of them were really healthy. They played, but none of those guys, Knapp, Wagner, Jagasaw was still dealing with an ankle, Shroud, they were all still pretty much 80 to 85%. But you saw how effective they were even when they weren't totally healthy. So now they get to kind of chill for another 2 months, relax, go into the fall healthy, and hopefully they can remain that before smacking Miami on August 31st.
I think Miami will look different. I think they got a pretty good defensive line, at least on paper. And so it's definitely a battle of the trenches, but I think the outlook on what we have to do and just in terms of having dominant both sides of the football. Not dominant one side with a good cavalry type effort from our offense.
Yeah.
Now we got two front lines. Where you gonna go? Where you gonna go? Play keep away. It's gonna be hard to get. You know, it's gonna be hard to stay on the field. Or you gonna keep giving it to us, or we just gonna keep. You know, we're gonna keep scoring. So I think that's the part that we got to add to make us complete.
Marcus Freeman talking about his quarterbacks.
A lot of teaching opportunities, I'm sure. You know, I'm not truly outcome driven, you know, so I think we had one turnover. And then again, I don't know if it was the route, the throw, but it was a lot of good from all three guys and a lot of teaching opportunities, you know, as we'll go back and watch. But it was a reflection of how the first 11 practices have been. Those guys have been battling. They've all improved. They're all, you know, doing some really good things. And it's crazy to think this. You got three guys that all can lead your program to a victory, right, and be your starting quarterback. So we'll evaluate it. We'll talk about it, and have discussions moving forward. Again, you would like to be able to kind of go in the fall with a 2 quarterback battle. It's really hard with truly having a 3 quarterback battle, but we gotta sit down and have conversations about what's best for our program, what's best for our quarterbacks, and we'll make those decisions in the future.
There we go.
I told you. Now he's free to say it because everybody saw it. Now he can't hide it. He can't protect anybody anymore. Everybody saw it.
Okay.
He was protecting his guys. I told you. He was being a good coach. He was protecting all 3 of his guys. Now the cat's out of the bag. Now I can sit up here and tell you what it is. Now I can tell you what I've been seeing. I'm not going into the fall with 3 quarterbacks. It's not happening. Can't do it. He knows that, Left. You were saying that Marcus Freeman knew that. He knew that last week when you said it on the show. He knew it. The man knows what he's doing, Left. Tried to tell you. He knows what he's doing. You didn't have your date in Ohio boy. You didn't have his back.
I did. I had his
You
back.
didn't have your boy's back last week.
Yeah, I mean, he was selling it. He was selling it.
Ashamed.
But the thing was, at the same time, I think I wanted a sped up timeline. Just because I think just more assertive you are behind the guy that you're just going to ride behind, who are you really trying to fool? And I do think that what we do see is that he is going to embrace those conversations like I was hoping he was when he did 2 years ago. And he's like, look, I can already tell what it's going to be. Steve, you're good. We just need more. I already had this talk with you 2 years ago. But I think we can get you somewhere where you can still get to the league. That's a very respectable conversation. We can get you somewhere where you can still try and get to the league. Not beat us nothing, but get to the league. Kenny and CJ, because he said the 2-man race got to happen. Okay, let it happen. I still think you can win with both by not playing CJ. But if CJ win the job, did he win the job? I just think whoever wins that got to be a 2-year, 3-year guy. Got to be. We can't. Let's not do the rotating stuff.
Nah, I don't want to do that Steve Spurrier stuff.
No.
Let's hear from the fans. Let's hear what they had to say. Jeremiah Huggins, thank you for tapping in. He said Carr has an issue with deep ball confidence. Everyone was excited about his stat line, but it had 9 completions and 11 attempts within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. That's a little better version of my boy Book. That's a fair assessment, Jeremiah. That's a fair assessment.
What we say about CJ? If you get those guys that can catch that.
You said it. He can distribute. You said that. You said he was going to be a master distributor of the football. You said that. People need to listen to you when it comes to quarterback play at Notre Dame, Left. But, they choose to push back usually when you say something at first. And then when it plays out, then they want to say, okay, Malik was right. But once again, you're spot on. You were spot on. You said that when you saw him at the Elite 11.
This was 3-4 years ago.
3-4 years ago, before he came to Notre Dame, you saw him and immediately came on the podcast and said, hey, he'll distribute the ball and get it where it needs to go.
Exactly. And it's going to be those other guys' job to turn them 10s and 5s into 15, 20s, and he going to give you a couple deep shots. Nothing to, blow you out the water where he leads you and you run away. Give you the nice one-on-one deep catches where you get you a photo for your living room. Maybe throw a post with a little bit of leeway. Catch tackle type of thing. But we're going to need them special players to activate them phase on some great houses and bursts and catch it, make the dude miss. Get busy. Change your life. He going to get it to you now. Y'all been complaining about the ball ain't coming your way. It's coming your way. However, you got to put a little bit more work in. You got to, okay, this is what you asked for. Now go get right. I ain't going to just give you the 60. Now, I'm going to give you the 60. me, Ev. We gonna give you we gonna give you that Drake care package. Just get down there. Where you at? Where you at? Okay, we got you. We give you that Drake care package. But CJ, okay, we're gonna have to stack them up. Oh, you slipped the tackle. You jumped over and got that's a little bit more exciting to watch. A lot more people is digestible football. Because what they gonna say? Oh, he's playing the game right. Because what in reality is he doing? He's the Steve with more excitement, more memorable moments. He gonna entertain you. He gonna give you what Steve gonna give you. But CJ gonna sneak in that. He gonna hit the right matchup. And then they gonna love playing with him. And then they gonna everybody love playing with CJ. He just that's how he build that allure. CJ has the allure that Steve can't get. He's CJ's just a popular dude in class, and Steve got some motion. He ain't got to. CJ come make it look easy. Kenny is what in the second grade they would call the fastest in the class. If you in second grade and you the fastest in the class, you that guy. You that guy. Girlies like you. Teachers is fond of you because you the fastest in the class. That's what they say. You identify the top person in second grade, who the fastest in the class. That gets the most respect. And then the second is who got the best snacks. CJ is the guy that got the best snacks because he shared with everybody. But the fastest in the class is the guy that is the man. That's how second grade worked. It's no different. You on mute.
Please follow Left on social media. He has these kids doing all types of Olympic events every day at school. It's crazy. It's crazy. Some more. Josh Bufo, the motivational business banker. Josh, man, long time. Hope everything's good with you and the family. Steve is the last of the BK type quarterbacks. It's time we move on from this quarterback. He doesn't have but one easy bowl game against third team. His experience. What are we talking about? Carr and Kenny are high ahead.
It's an aesthetic thing. Steve is very serviceable. Steve gets 9-10 games.
I would say Steve is a little better than serviceable. I would say he's worked himself into being a little more than serviceable.
Serviceable, in your opinion, is how many games won?
I think Notre Dame can make the playoffs with all three.
They
make the playoffs with all three. Yeah. Win a championship? I don't know if they can win a championship.
I would all three.
But that's just kind of a guesstimation. But that's
you got more hope for the young dudes. You just have more.
There you go. Jay Grizz, I respect Steve Angeli and everything he's done for Notre Dame football, but in my opinion, we've already seen the version of quarterback that Steve Angeli is at Notre Dame, and it's just not quite good enough to win a title.
See, it's an optic thing. It's just like, you're just not sexy enough for me to want to put you above the hotter talent. It's like, yeah, you can sing. This is Chris Brown. You know what I mean? That's hey.
That cat Chris Brown had Carucci smiling this weekend, didn't he?
Chris Brown. What's Chris Brown?
That cat boy Carucci had all of her back teeth showing.
That's right. It's Chris Brown, man. She can't flex on. Come on, man. You gonna flex on Chris Brown? Come on, bro. You embarrassing.
That's breezy, baby.
See, because Steve is almost that backup dancer. He became the backup dancer. He on stage. He get the crowd hype. He got a couple of the girlies in the front row, but he ain't the lead singer. Tito was good. He ain't Michael.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I wouldn't call Steve Angeli Tito. I would call him Jermaine. I would call him Jermaine. You know what I'm saying? Mike and Randy, The two young ones was the stars. You know what I'm
It
saying?
was a star.
Mike and Randy were the stars, and Janet.
And
You know what I'm
Janet,
saying? Yeah. That cat, Jermaine tried to have a solo.
he tried. It
Just wasn't.
it's
just
Michael
wasn't.
and Randy.
Yeah, he wasn't Mike. That's kind of Steve Angeli. He's Jermaine Jackson.
And he can get off. He can
And
get
Jermaine Jackson gets a lot of respect.
a lot of respect.
Wrote some songs.
Man, you gonna get into the club wherever you want to go.
Always.
They gonna respect your last name. Yeah, when you got that Notre Dame tag, look at Drew. He just go wherever he want. He go whatever he want and sub it up.
Midnight Rider. CJ sees the field better than the other two. He tells
See.
tells the ball better. He's more poised than the other
See?
two. He can take us to a championship, Kenny, maybe if he settles down.
See,
Yeah,
okay.
I'll push back on a couple of these, but go ahead, Left. I'm gonna let you ride that. I'm gonna let you ride. First of all, look. Go ahead. I'll let you.
Just slow down. Look, we getting there.
Let me look. I agree at this point. I would say pre-snap, CJ sees the field better pre-snap. He tells the ball. I don't know what tells the ball better. If you want to say he's more poised in the pocket, I think they just have two types of games.
See, because then they see when they fall in love with the Lord, they start making up stuff.
And him not being poised in the pocket.
No, that's the adjectives you need, though. You know they're gonna throw them adjectives now. And it's we hope that he becomes what we think we see. You know, that's the best part about it. We hope this is the launch.
That's the type of my point is, Left. CJ is a last resort runner. Kenny is a playmaker as a runner.
Yeah.
So he will escape. It's not that he's not poised in the pocket. When he sees an opportunity to run, I'll give you a perfect example. I challenged somebody. I was talking to B. Driss. And what they called a sack. I believe they gave the sack to Kingston. Mm-hmm. And I said, we were out to dinner. I said, you need to go back and watch that play. I said, because if it was live, he juked the heck out of Kingston. I said, Kingston barely got a fingertip on him. I said, go watch it. And everybody that was there went back and watched him, was like, yeah, Kenny probably gets around the corner on him. I said, yeah. But they called it a sack because, of course, anytime you get close to the quarterback in a scrimmage like that, it's for the protection of the quarterback. I think people need to, I'll say this. It's been like this all, you saw one day where CJ was better. There have been multiple days where Kenny was better during the spring. People just happen to see one day where CJ was better.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's
so
just,
in the big picture, all people are like, oh man, CJ's way better. CJ's not way better than Kenny.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a snap. You got a snapshot.
Yeah,
I'm trying, just like we tried to tell you to relax on that whole Steve Angeli stuff.
Yeah, the bigger story is the separation between the young two and Steve. That's the bigger story. Yes, that's the bigger story. That's the part.
That's really the bigger story.
That's what you want to pull.
And I'm not sitting up here saying I agree with certain things that Midnight Rider said, but Kenny's not a maybe. Both of the young cats could take you to a championship.
Yeah.
Kenny's not a maybe.
Yeah, he's not maybe.
Well, settle down. Let's settle down how? Settle down what? KK Smith dropping a wide open post route. What, did he need to settle down on that? Kenny missed one throw that was bad. One. And it was like a little 5-yard check down. Quick read. He read the blitz. He got the ball in his hand, but he just missed it. There was no awful throw. Kenny didn't have any awful throws. He had two drops by the receivers, and he had a touchdown if Will Paulding didn't throttle down and then try to pick his speed back up. It was a beautiful throw by Kenny. It's like, but give me the throws where you just like, oh, Kenny, that was awful. Come on, man. Now we overreacting. He needs to settle down. How? This is where people start reading numbers. Watch the game. Watch the game. Those throws, Gino Guidugli's going to watch the film and say, don't worry about the result. That's what Marcus Freeman said. We're not worrying about the result. Are you making the right read? You're making the right decision? Because he knows both of those dudes can make the throws. He's not worried about that. Decision making is going to be the big thing for these youngsters. Can we trust you on the road at Miami not to give the game away? We're going to win the game. We're going to win the game if you just don't give it away.
Just don't give it away.
That's the Georgia Kirby Smart mentality. As long as the quarterback does not give the game away, we're going to find a way to win.
Because we're in that pocket. What's always happening?
Notre Dame is in that pocket now.
The first year, don't give it away. The second year, you got to win it.
Yes.
That's why it's got a 2-year deal.
Notre Dame is in a perfect position as a team right now. All the quarterback has to do, just don't give it away. Make plays. You're going to make plays because there's tons of talent. Just don't give the game away. Jeremiah Huggins, opinion CJ had the best day overall. Kenny wasn't far behind, but the team result wasn't the same. And Jelly was solid, third best again. The Jersey scrimmage saw Kenny have the best day, but Carr close. That's what I'm saying. That's all I've been saying. One day the other guy's better. That's it.
And that's what it's like, you know. I don't think Marcus Freeman can lose necessarily. I think you lose with not making the decision quick enough. Getting guys knowing their role, knowing what you're trying to do, Marcus Freeman. Because it's really about what Marcus Freeman wants to put out there. I still think these guys are two different types of quarterbacks. Still two different types of ways to win. You're just adding some throwing in there. I think it would be more aligned with, honestly, what Kenny did when I was playing, taking some shots, running the ball a little bit, getting the ball around. CJ, I think, would be just a slightly different direction. You're not going to do many read option stuff with CJ, more rollouts. And it's just a different, I think, game plan. You take a little bit less risk with CJ just from who you're gonna try to put the ball in the hands of. You can put the ball in the hands of Kenny in a tight spot. He can make a play. I'm not thinking 3rd and 3, 4th and 3, the potential of CJ running the ball. You know, just different parts of the game. Those are different calls. So we'll see what I mean, this is a good spot though. Like you said, this pocket. You're not losing. You're not losing.
Dave 8 to go 7 Casper. GTB question: what's the chance of one of the quarterbacks undercard entering the portal next week? Well, there's only one quarterback undercard. We'll keep it above. I think the youngsters go in having to prove who's the best quarterback in the fall. So in my opinion, there's only one quarterback that's going to have a chance to hop in the portal.
And Steve.
Yeah, I would be shocked if it's anybody else.
It ain't like the girls' basketball team where everybody's just leaving and graduating.
Shout out to Maddie Westfall. Shout out to Maddie Westfall being in the Shy, baby. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Maddie Westfall coming in, playing that stretch 4.
Her and Caitlin.
We wanted to play that. You know, we could either take Angel off the floor, bring Maddie in, let her play that stretch 4, play with Camila down in the post. If they want to double Camila, throw her right back out there to Maddie, pop that Trizza. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they got
pop that Trizza. You know what I'm saying? Pop that Trizza. It's all good.
Sonya, she went 3rd.
Sonya did go 3rd. I didn't know. Yo, I'm new to the game on the French lady that can dunk off the one leg.
Oh, I didn't see that.
She went 2nd. You haven't seen the video? Left. I didn't know. I'll try and bring it up. Dude, I didn't know. I didn't know. Sly Fox, 10404. I was rooting for Minchie, but my eyes on Saturday looked like CJ was leading for number one. In that practice, I would agree. In that practice, I would agree.
Oh, she's dunking like.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, Left. Somebody about to get posterized this year. For real.
I mean, it's like beyond easy. She
I'm
dunking
trying
that
to
thing.
figure out how she didn't go one.
She's 6'6", 7'1" wingspan.
Yes.
And dunking and shooting like at 19 years old.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No, yeah.
Niel should have given that girl about $4 million.
Where did she even come from?
France.
She ain't even get to the college system.
Nah, man. For what? See, that's why somebody should have given her that NIL money, because she's only gonna make about $78K.
And she's 19.
19, brother. 19,
That's young,
man.
And a dude basketball player.
Man, look.
Enrique and Page is nice, though. I like that.
Noob Life. Carr's the guy, but Minchie's not far behind. Thank you, Noob Life. I got. Black Rhino 75. Carr Minchie can win a championship as QB1. And Jeremiah Huggins says CJ did drop dimes. So did Kenny. Unfortunate for Kenny that the receivers dropped his couple of dimes.
Kenny just gonna have to be dealing with, if he starts that anything, if it plays bad, they're gonna be like, we should have put in the other guy. You know, he's just gonna have to deal with that until he has memorable moments where it's like, that's our quarterback. But I still think he's just gonna have to fight that. He's just gonna have to fight it regardless. And it's either fight it or lay down to it. And I think Kenny's gonna fight it. He just gotta play at a level where, you know, your bad not gonna beat the blogs, but you can't give them no taste of it either, you know.
Yeah.
It's almost like a Kelly Bryant situation. You know what I mean? You gotta win the big games. That's how they thinking is. We can't sit CJ for 2. So he gotta, you know what I'm saying? He gotta, you know what we getting or not. It's just a tough situation. You know what I mean? Your first year got to be out the park. Because if you go up there, do what we all expect we can do and get to the playoffs, and you lose the first game, ain't nothing nobody can do. What do you think, Sean? What do you think? Listen. you get there, you lose that first game. I don't think there's nothing anybody can do. I think
man, look. Yeah, they'll learn what Riley Leonard learned. I'll tell you that. It's different, bro. Bull Rider OG. The blue and gold game isn't what people should be making a decision on who the best quarterback is. Falls camp is where the men separate themselves from the boys. Yeah, but
it's manufactured. We going in there with missions and agendas and stuff. It's too much money. You know, we going in there saying this is what we want out of the situation. We ain't testing too much. You know, we'll have some on the fence, but we paying for something. Or we putting this in place like Strowman. Ain't no man from the boys. He's starting. He's in that first rollout team.
Yeah.
Whenever he's healthy, like he's been there, it ain't even gonna be no. They're like, no, come here. Hey,
you know what? Jay Grizz, my boy, Jay Grizz, you owe somebody an apology. You owe somebody an apology in the chat, Jay Grizz. You've been a little disrespectful. You were. I'm gonna be honest with you. And Marcus Freeman kind of addressed it. When he kind of addressed it, Left. He kind of addressed it. Because he was happy with the tight ends. We finally got to hear over the loudspeaker. I finally got to hear it over the PA. Catch by Jack Larson. I heard it, Left. I was like,
it's a great name.
It's a great name to go over the PA. Oh, it was dope.
He got a
It
little,
was
he got a
dope.
little Kyle Rudolph in him. He just,
Yeah, got a little wiggle in him.
yeah,
Got
he's
a
just
little
not.
wiggle in him.
Yeah.
Marcus Freeman talked about his tight ends and his young safeties.
You know, Kevin's a guy that played a lot of ball for us 2 years ago and has battled some injuries, and, you know, have him back this spring in some type of role has been good. Eli's, you know, we've held him in certain areas of spring ball, but again, he's a guy, you know what you're going to get out of Eli Raritan, and again, he showed today to do some good things. It was good to see Jack make a huge catch today. Jack and Kevin, but Jack, it was good to see that throw and catch in that critical situation. But I think that group as a whole, you know, Garrity's done some good things. Justin Fisher's done some good things. Like, it's good to see, hey, with the Cooper being down, Eli being limited at times, you know, Kevin had early in spring being limited. Like, guys are stepping up. It's a reflection of the leadership in the room, but also the depth of that room. And so, done some really good things. I'm really pleased with that room.
I know you guys are pretty high on Jalen Stroman, and yet your young safeties felt like had a really good spring. How deep can you go with that group, and did that group surprise you this spring?
Not surprised, but it's a group that I believe is deep and talented, just inexperienced in game reps, right? I know Luke Tallage and what he can do, and Breontae Johnson and the talent he has, and Stroman, you obviously have seen it on film. You haven't seen it much in person with injury, but you know you have a room that's talented and can get the job done. They just don't have a whole bunch of in-game experience doing it here at Notre Dame. And so there's a strong confidence we have in that safeties room, and I'm looking forward to seeing those guys improve, but go do it when it matters the most.
Jay Grizz, wasn't that you last week that said Luke Tallage was some spring hype? Didn't you say they were hyping Luke Tallage up? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I can remember we had dialogue on the show where you felt like Luke Tallage and everybody talking about how good he was playing was hype. Now, you still feel the same way after watching him play on Saturday? Nah, they deep. Trying to tell, dude. That cap. This is the crazy thing. Okay, maybe you were the wrong person. I apologize. Whoever it was, you owe that man an apology. You owe that man an apology. I apologize to you, Jay Grizz, because I thought it was you. But they're deep left. They're deep. That safety position is Tabor and Benny Powell made plays. Breontae Johnson made plays. Luke Tallage is making plays. Ben Minich with the interception from the nickel spot. Carson Hobbs was talking. I can see now Carson Hobbs is going to talk a lot of trash this year, boy. That cat Carson Hobbs talks a lot.
Come from that best
He
conference.
talks that talk. And I
Come from
love
that
the fact that they allow him to talk. I absolutely love it. Let him talk. Let him talk. You got Stroman. You got the youngsters. And then Ethan Long, Jadon Blair, Dallas Golden, Mark Zachary. They haven't even shown up yet. Shit. Man.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I think that as long as the edge comes from somewhere, you know what I mean? And for Notre Dame, it's just important that as excited as I am about our defense, I'm just more anticipating what offensively we can give. And it's
That's
just
fair. That's fair.
because we've seen how far our defense can take us.
Right.
And for them to have repeat success, not that I don't expect them to be good, but we got to give credit to what that defense last year accomplished. And to repeat that level of greatness, it's just I'm not going to sit there and say we should do the same thing or better. I'm just, I give a little leeway. First year transition, but we got the pieces. We got guys that have that are playing like they want to prove something defensively, and a lot of it is because they trying to prove that they can play on a defense that's getting pretty tough. Like we got starters that would start 90% of places. That's the difference. Xavier Watts is starting on every team but maybe 2. Christian Gray and Riley Moore or Leonard Moore starting on most teams but maybe 1 or 2. So these young guys, like if I'm playing at a high level here in this position, in this unit, I'm top in the country. And that's that sweet spot that you want to be in, where these young guys are going to hit the curve a little bit harder than because they know if I'm starting here, I'm a first round pick. I'm getting the NIL money, top 5 in the country, and it's been happening for multiple years. So Don Shula, what you think happened to him? He like, what he said in the press conference? I saw Xavier Watts. I got a lot to look forward to. I got a lot to look into, what up to. I can't come in just chilling. What Kenny Erlacher could do? Shoot, I got a couple plays, but I can't come in here starting slow. Because I got a big gap to close if I want to start. That's the value of our Notre Dame secondary. If you're starting, you going somewhere. You in the conversation. You a top tier NIL guy. You gonna be on an award list. First round hype. That's what Mike Mickens has built that unit up to be, which is why he deserves that next step, defensive coordinator, whatever. But his role is great where he's at. But when that unit, the running back room's kind of getting there, but when that unit, I think it started with the Kyron CJ era, where if you starting running back at Notre Dame, well, you take it back to Theo, I guess. You starting that running back at Notre Dame, you okay. Hey, I know I'm top 10 in the country. Woo-dee-woo. We already know about that offensive line. If I'm starting at Notre Dame, no matter what age, I'm a top 10 lineman in the country. Top 10 percentile. Or what does it go the other way? Is it 90%? The 90th percentile. If I'm a starter at Notre Dame. Premium. Cream of the crop. Transferable to all schools. I might go to another school at Notre Dame and be the best player they ever had. What Zeke Carroll do with over this NC State was the best center in the whole thing. That's premium grade. Because you can get shipped out to somewhere else and still have a great NFL career. A great career in college. So the safety and corner spot secondary is like that. Quarterbacks, if we get a quarterback position room like that, we really out of here. Everybody getting paid. Everybody getting a raise. You gotta know where your money spots are. Georgia's money spot, the D-line. Georgia's spot investing in that D-line, got everybody paid. Championships, first round, big monsters in recruiting. Like, where did you get this guy? This guy's 18? They invest in that D-line. We invest in O-line, though. Well, we got some skilled suckers over there. So it's just about getting it in the right spot.
Lucky Lefty podcast. Left, I think one of the things to close that out is you talk about just this team overall looked extremely talented on Saturday. And like I said, over the next 24 to 48 hours, ladies and gentlemen, that might lead to, some people making some tough decisions. And, you tip your cap and you thank them for their services if that is indeed the case somehow, some way. But there's no way you watched that game on Saturday or that practice or that scrimmage and came away with uh-ohs and questions. And you might have a few questions due to people not being there and what things might look like, but other than that, it's a bunch of dogs on that roster. Bunch of dogs in that roster. Lucky Lefty Podcast. So 2 commitments this weekend. First, Gregory Patrick, Portage, North Portage, left tackle. He is the 4th offensive lineman in a 4-man group thus far. There's a chance Notre Dame will go and grab a 5th. There are 3 tackles left on the board that they're looking at. Claude and Puma, the McHugh kid, who's a teammate of Joey O'Brien, who's going to be coming in, and then Aking Aboko, who's a teammate of Notre Dame commit Ebenezer Utade. So they might be adding another tackle to this 4-man haul on the offensive line. Gregory Patrick is the newest addition. Talk to him, tidbit from his commitment. He made the commitment up in his heart and his mind on April the 4th. The odd thing about that date is he was actually headed back home from a visit to Michigan. So he was leaving his visit from Michigan, and in the car said to himself, Notre Dame is the place for me. There's nothing, I don't need to see anything else. He had officials scheduled out in the month of June. He was scheduled to visit Notre Dame officially on June 13th. He still will be visiting Notre Dame officially on June 13th. And yeah, that's that, man. I mean, I just put out a story on Irish Breakdown. I got to update it because he was supposed to be getting ready. When I talked to him previously, he was going to be playing baseball. He has an injury, and that injury is going to keep him out for the remainder of the baseball season. So I'll add that to the story. I posted the story. It was published. Got that latest update from Gregory Patrick about the baseball season today. And so I'll add that to the message board and make sure it's changed in the story tomorrow. But yeah, he is the 10th commitment in the class, 4th along the offensive line. Notre Dame possibly is going to get to 5 on the offensive line. It was just ironic that he made the decision coming back from his Michigan visit. And of course, a certain Michigan insider had to put out that Michigan really didn't want him. And that's why he chose Notre Dame. So, and of course, in saying that, Gregory Patrick's father went on a very subtle rant this afternoon. And I'll just read a couple of things that he had to say, Left. Once again, Joseph Patrick, the father of Notre Dame offensive line commitment in 2026, Gregory Patrick. He said, let me say this, NIL was never discussed and it wasn't a factor in this decision. Notre Dame has NIL, that is what we know. Culture, relationships, education, development, tradition, that is what drove the decision. Nothing but respect for the UM program and their coaches. The amount of time they have is finite. And if my son wasn't a player they wanted, they surely had a weird strategy of offering him a scholarship as a sophomore and having numerous visits with him. Coach Moore visiting his school twice. UM did a great job recruiting him. Coach Moore and Coach Newsom are great. Both have bright futures. In-state kids they offer are important recruits. They have to be. You need to protect your own turf.
Got to.
Ask Joseph Patrick, father of Gregory Patrick, 2026 offensive line committed for Notre Dame. I hear my boy Jimmy Buckets is doing Jimmy Buckets thing. Playoff Jimmy is showing up tonight.
They in the play-in for a reason. We ain't worried about it.
Playoff Jimmy is showing up tonight. Playoff Jimmy is showing up
Play
tonight.
in Jimmy. This is the play in Jimmy. They ain't in the playoffs.
No. They're about to be in the playoffs, and playoff Jimmy just showed up one game earlier. Oh, it's gonna be Lakers. You know it's gonna be Lakers Warriors in round 2. You already know it. You already know it.
Not worried.
You don't have to worry. You don't have to worry. You don't have
Bron is a seasoned, the reason for the season. People wouldn't watch the playoffs.
All I'm saying, Ant-Man can go into any small. That's the power of Ant-Man. He can shrink. He can morph into anything. That's the power of Ant-Man. He can be whatever he needs to be.
He gotta do it 40 at night. I know that.
If that's what he needs to do, he'll do it.
What does LeBron do to form?
He paid everything off for 18 years, got that off his plate. Doesn't have to worry about that coming to the playoffs. Let me cut this $1 million check.
Big men.
Let me, huh?
What does LeBron do to foreign big men down there in that post?
I know he gets dunked on by some foreign big men. Lefty podcast. I know that. I know we saw that. I know we did see that this summer. Lefty podcast. Bubba Frazier. So Bubba Frazier, Savannah, Georgia, 4-star, 3-star, 4-star wide receiver committed to Notre Dame. Benedictine Military Academy out of Savannah, Georgia. And Left, I really do like this young man. He's only 5'10", 190 pounds, but he plays so much bigger, Left. He really does. And I just really like this young man's game. I really do. They got him here in the boundary. He plays everywhere. Watch this. Now watch the speed, Left. Yeah, Left. Yeah. You talk about CJ getting the ball to guys and letting them do work.
That's
CJ's
CJ's
Bubba. Now watch the route. Watch this route. Watch this route.
He's just like a guy that can accelerate fast. I think that's just a unique part to a receiver's team. When they just excel, that's that Will Fuller trait.
Don't tease him like that, Lev. Don't tease him like that.
Just saying, the Will Fuller trait is just he's 100 at the start. It's just like, oh shoot, hey, watch out. That's a Denbrock favorite. That's a quarterback favorite. When you come off the ball like, God, hey. Look how he's at full speed already. Good luck. Yeah. Need him. Is he committed?
Yeah, he's committed, bro.
Oh, yeah, this dude is next level.
He's a little punt return for you, Lev.
Nah, we ain't teasing that. I got to see it this year. This is the year I got to see it. We done put the smoke flares out. We're gonna respond this year. Yeah, he got that off the jump speed you like. That wins at the line. He's got the speed and the pop off to win at the line. He's out there. Goodbye. Yeah. That right there. Where it's like, did they speed the film up? They put that in fast motion? No, he just got that separation. See, I like that. Yeah. No change of speed. Yeah. Get the dancing. We need it. Now, what's he about? 165 or something like that?
No, he's 190. He's a thick.
Oh, he's ready to play right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just like how he run. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, yes, sir. See, that's that type of run where he grew up in the park. He grew up in the park with the bigger kids. Ain't no rules out there. It's just don't go down. He played with them don't go down tackles.
They put him everywhere. Field, boundary, slot.
Look how he just takes off. He's there.
He just
So
turned my man around.
It's a lightweight Zachariah Branch. Lightweight, just comes off electric, hard to get a handle on. Playmaker. Give him a chance.
Screen.
I got that play in my playbook.
Do you? You recognize that play, huh?
Come on. It's my play. Call it Minnesota for middle screen. Dude. Liking, needing.
Got him in the backfield again.
He's what people try to make Faison. Not that Faison's not a dude.
He's faster than Faison.
That's what I'm saying. He's in phase, son.
Okay, I see
He's
what
in
you did
phase,
there.
son.
I see what you did there. Okay. I like him because he's a complete wide receiver. If they can get him and Braden Robinson, if Braden Robinson ends up committing to Notre Dame, you just up the speed and explosiveness in the wide receiver room by leaps and bounds. Like you said, he's at top speed really fast, Left.
Yeah. It's just a good thing for a quarterback to look at. Just that's that. Just run to the open spot type of guy. Just get over there in that hole right over there. Just run. Just get in there real quick. All day.
This young man, let me tell you something. I love him because they find that they're like, yo, he's our best. Oh, my Lord.
That's what I'm saying. He's out. He's out of there. You just want that because it's off. It's off it pops. When the last receiver that popped, Jaden Grayhouse doesn't pop. He's a good receiver. There's a difference. And the pop is just off the ball, like, oh, it's exciting. It catches your eye. It's an aesthetically pleasing receiver.
Once again, Notre Dame wide receiver commitment in 2026 class, Bubba Frazier, Benedictine Military Academy, Savannah, Georgia. 4-star in my eyes. Explosiveness, speed. You talk about a kid that is a football player along with being fast. He's not just a track athlete. He is a football player. He is a wide receiver that knows how to play the game fast.
He's running more get open routes, not so much technician like an Elijah Burris or Micah Gilbert. He's more of those, we throwing you a screen, we throwing you some underneath stuff, and you do your thing. Give you some jet sweeps and reverses, whatever.
It's high school, dog. We're not going to make it difficult. Like, I don't need to make you run elaborate routes. He's just out here, man, running this, like you said. Get him the ball in space. That's the game plan. Get him the ball in space and let him do his thing. His last play in the red zone. Look at that double move, Left.
That's what I'm saying. He got that body movement and that pop.
Yeah.
That matches a football type of speed.
Yeah.
Not track. This guy just straight line gets you. He's got the speed where it's got the football aspect to it. Game speed.
Yeah, he is absolutely fantastic. He is committed. That means he joins Dylan Faison. And you put those two in as your first two wide receiver commits. And if they can add Kadon Finley, the son, another NFL legacy, son of Packers tight end and Raiders tight end, Jermichael Finley. Notre Dame is in a really good spot with Kadon Finley. I think it's going to come down between Notre Dame and Texas, in my opinion. Braden Robinson is going to make a decision soon. And then Gordon Sellers from Providence Day in Charlotte, North Carolina, who has some former teammates already on the Notre Dame roster. He visited today, and he's going to be making supposed to make a decision on the 18th. I'm sure Notre Dame is either going to try to get him to postpone that and push it back. Notre Dame has been recruiting him the entire time. They just got to go ahead to be able to give him an offer, but they've constantly been in contact with him. And if they can get two of the last three out of Finley, Robinson, and Sellers, if they can land two of those three to round out the rest of this wide receiver recruiting, great job by Mike Brown. Great job. Lucky Lefty Podcast. Before we get out of here, Left, Marcus Freeman was on, as I said, with J.D. Piquel. And had some interesting comments, Left. Two clips in particular, where he was talking about some current events in college football. One was the Tennessee Nico Iamaleava. I want to make sure I try to say it correctly. Iamaleava. And he also talked about why NFL players love to have their sons play for Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame.
It's perfect recruiting video.
Nah, man. I think that's just interesting on top because I would love for my son to play for Notre Dame just in general.
Yeah.
But you just started talking about the man, you started talking about everything else that comes with it. I mean, what's not to love? But this is what Marcus Freeman had to say about that Tennessee situation. Once again, courtesy of On 3. He's talking to J.D. Piquel.
Tennessee situation is the biggest story in college football right now. With you being a head coach at a major place like Notre Dame, what do you do to try and navigate and even avoid situations like that that are, it seems like, maybe becoming more and more potential for commonplace in our sport?
Yeah, I think that was a situation that became public, but I think it happens all over the country, right? And that, you know, I think you have representatives for players and you know, representatives for the university that are kind of having those discussions, but that one was a public one. The reality is our players are getting compensated, deserve to get compensated. You know, what you don't want to do is what I'm sure you've heard many coaches say is you don't want players to make a temporary decision based off a temporary situation that's going to affect them long term, right? And that transactional decisions aren't always the best ones for your future. And, you know, I think every situation's different. Every football program's different. But at the end of the day, you want to do what's right for college football, between what's right for college football, also what's right for our players. But you don't want this public disagreement to really tarnish what's so good about our profession and our sport.
Go ahead, Left.
Oh, man. I don't know. I think you got to really think of this in a business perspective, in that it's about leverage. And you embarking on something that hasn't been not looked down upon, but the way you brought it to the forefront, where you want to take the whole sit out of practice approach and all of that, it's a shock to the system. And I think you might be the sacrificial lamb for it. But if it was a dude that pulls the same thing, it is a different narrative.
Facts.
The narrative alone is killing Nico because they like the first thing that comes to mind is you ain't that good to be doing nothing. And that's the only poison shot that you need when in a situation like that. You ain't even beat Ohio State. You not even top 5. Not. But if Arch Manning did that, one, he wouldn't even hit the poor. They would have paid it. Just because it's the leverage. Peyton Manning would call up there so fast. No, they wouldn't do it. They got some respect in that. I mean, they trying to play football. And a little couple dollars, man. Call your uncle. Call your daddy. You good. But if he was to be in that situation, I don't think he would have hit the poor. They would have paid it. It wouldn't have been no big story. They would have been like, you give him his money. But off of the hype.
Yeah.
This is worse than the guy from UNLV because it was the UNLV quarterback. They were like, it's crazy, but he's small fish.
Yeah.
You were started in the SEC on the up and coming, and SEC got a lot of money now. They like, you think you finna? Nah.
And Marcus Freeman was then asked about NFL players and their sons.
Down your roster, there are so many familiar last names. Burris, Bettis, last year Jordan Clark was on your team. Why do you think so many NFL families send their sons to go play for you at Notre Dame?
I think everyone is different, right? Everyone has its own strategic reason. But, I think if I look at it in the big picture, some are former players, right, that they played at Notre Dame and their sons come to Notre Dame. But then some like Elijah Burris, Plaxico Burris didn't play at Notre Dame. But I think as you look at Burris and Urlacher and some of those guys that see the value of this university, right, and the opportunity to develop as a football player as well here as anywhere else in the country, but also the opportunity to get a degree that will truly take care of you beyond the game of football. And I think a lot of those guys that have played in college and played in the NFL understand the value of this university and not only its football program, but the network and the people that you're in contact with every day here at a place like this. So, for those guys to trust the future of their sons with our football program is humbling. It means the world, but we got to continue to make sure that we're selling the right product, right? Not only just the development of you as a football player, but the holistic approach into you as a human and you as a student.
All right, you got a minute and a half.
Notre Dame is just the easiest place. It's one of those things when you got money and money ain't the first thing you're thinking about. You start being like, they got the beautiful, it's beautiful. It's a no-brainer when you're coming from money. Because you're like, okay, money ain't on the forefront. Let me think longevity. And, is Marcus Freeman there? They got the education, we're going to do the student. Because they're not in fear of the unknown. They know what the road and the end goal looks like. So when you don't have the fear of the unknown, you're like, the possibilities from the network, because that's what the end of it. If you ain't worried about the money, then you start worrying about the network. When you got the money, you can look at the network and be like, okay, it's no brainer. We going places. Because you amongst other people with the money. A concentrated place, you get everything in there, some professionalism, blah, blah. Like Marcus Freeman said, the product is right. You're going to get that professionalism. You're going to get that league taste because I know what it looks like and right guys and right people and all the extracurriculars. This is a no-brainer. It's like going to private school. Because when you get bread, you get some money, you're going to hit that private school. What you mean? You ain't going to public school. What you talking? Wow.
Lucky Lefty Podcast. Thank you for joining us tonight. Great show. Apple Podcast, Spotify, tap in, Believe Network. We'll be back with you guys tomorrow night with more Marcus Freeman. Spin it different.